Colonel Sam Roberts stood in the tunnel system beneath New York City. The tunnels had been here for over a century, built for old subway trains that no longer ran. Now they served a different purpose. They hid one of the most important projects in human history. "How much deeper do we need to go?" asked engineer Julie Mason as she checked her tablet. Sweat dripped from her face despite the cool underground air. "Another 50 feet, Sam replied. "The quantum generators need to be deep enough that alien sensors cannot detect them from orbit." Around them, hundreds of workers moved equipment through the narrow passages. They carried pieces of machinery that most people could not even name: quantum field generators, neural interface arrays, power distribution nodes. All of it was part of Project Zeus. Sam had been in charge of construction for 6 months now. In that time, his teams had built hidden facilities under 12 major cities around the world: London, Tokyo, Moscow, Sydney. Each city had a Zeus installation buried deep beneath the streets. "Colonel," called out Sergeant Alex Wright from down the tunnel. "Dr. Torres wants to see you in Lab 3. Sam made his way through the maze of passages until he reached the main laboratory. Dr. Angela Torres stood in front of a wall covered with screens and blinking lights. She was the lead scientist on Zeus, and Sam had learned to respect her genius. "Sam, we have a problem," Dr. Torres said, without looking away from her work. "The power requirements are higher than we calculated. Each Zeus node needs 3 times more energy than we planned." "Can we get more power?" Sam asked. "We are already drawing from the electrical grid of entire cities. If we take more, people will notice. Rolling blackouts, industrial shutdowns, questions we cannot answer." Sam rubbed his forehead. Every day brought new challenges. "What are our options?" Dr. Torres turned to face him. "We need to tap directly into geothermal energy, drill down to the Earth's core, and use the planet's own heat to power Zeus." "How deep are we talking about?" 20 miles, maybe deeper. We would need drilling equipment that does not exist yet. Then we build it. How long?" 2 weeks, if everything goes perfectly. 3 weeks, more likely. Sam looked at the calendar on the wall. They had 18 days left before the alien deadline. "Dr. Torres, we do not have 3 weeks. Then we need help. More engineers, more equipment, more everything." Sam activated his communication device. Within minutes, he was talking to Admiral Stone back at Earth Defense Command. "Admiral, we need emergency resources for the Zeus project. Dr. Torres says we need to drill deeper than planned." Admiral Stone's voice came through clearly, despite being transmitted through layers of rock and metal. "What do you need?" "Industrial drilling rigs, geothermal specialists, and about 1,000 more workers per city. You will have them by tomorrow. Money is no object. Use whatever you need." After the call ended, Dr. Torres led Sam to another part of the laboratory. Here, a different team worked on the neural interface components. Dr. Nathan Hayes looked up from a complex device that looked like a metal helmet covered in wires. "Colonel Roberts, perfect timing. We just had a breakthrough. With the consciousness interface," Dr. Hayes picked up the helmet, "we discovered something incredible about human brain patterns. Unlike other species the aliens have studied, human minds operate on quantum frequencies naturally. We do not need to force the connection. We just need to amplify what is already there." "What does that mean in practical terms?" Sam asked. "It means every human can connect to Zeus without special training or genetic modification. A person just puts on the interface headset, and their mind links automatically to the network." Dr. Torres smiled. "Nathan, show him the test results." Dr. Hayes activated a screen that showed brain scans. "We tested the interface on 50 volunteers yesterday. Every single one connected successfully. No side effects, no brain damage, and Colonel, when they were linked together, their combined intelligence increased by a factor of 10. Sam felt a spark of hope. 10 times smarter? At minimum. They could solve complex math problems in seconds. They could process information faster than any computer we have ever built, and most importantly, they could coordinate their actions perfectly. How many people can we connect at once? In theory, there is no limit. The more minds we add to the network, the more powerful it becomes. If we could connect every human on Earth, Zeus would become the most intelligent entity in the galaxy. Thought about that. 7 billion human minds working as one. It was an incredible idea and a terrifying one. Doctor, what happens to individual personality when someone joins the network? Do people lose themselves? Dr. Hayes shook his head. No, that was our biggest concern too. Each person keeps their own thoughts and memories, but they can also access the thoughts and memories of everyone else in the network. Think of it like a library where everyone can read every book at the same time. A young technician ran up to them. Colonel Roberts, we are getting reports from our monitoring stations. Alien ships are moving. Sam followed the technician to the communications center. The main screen showed a map of the solar system with red dots marking alien positions. Many of the dots were moving toward Earth. How many ships? Sam asked. Over 2,000 so far. They are maintaining formation but getting closer. Our best estimate is they will reach Earth's orbit in 10 days. 10 days? Not 18. The aliens were moving ahead of schedule. Sam activated the emergency communication system. This is Colonel Roberts to all Zeus construction sites. We have a priority 1 situation. Alien forces are advancing. We need to complete all installations in 8 days maximum. Responses came in from around the world. London reported they were 3 days behind schedule. Tokyo said they needed more drilling equipment. Moscow was having problems with power. Distribution. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam announced to the entire facility, we just lost a week. Whatever you were planning to do in 18 days, you now have 8 days to do it. I know it sounds impossible. I know you are already working 20-hour shifts. But if we fail, there will not be another chance. The response was immediate. Workers who had been taking breaks went back to their stations. Engineers who had been going home to sleep decided to stay. Everyone understood what was at stake. Dr. Torres appeared at Sam's side. Colonel, I just got word from the volunteers who tested the neural interface. They want to stay connected to Zeus permanently. They say the experience was incredible. They felt like they were part of something much larger than themselves. Is that safe? We do not know. No one has been connected for more than 6 hours, but they are willing to take the risk. Sam made a decision that would change everything. Dr. Torres, keep them connected. Let them help with the construction. If Zeus makes people smarter, we need that intelligence right now. Within hours, the 50 volunteers were using their enhanced abilities to solve engineering problems that had been taking days. Connected to Zeus, they could design better equipment, calculate power requirements perfectly, and coordinate the work of thousands of people. The construction sites around the world began working faster than ever before. Drilling rigs operated 24 hours a day. Power generators came online ahead of schedule. The Zeus network grew stronger with each passing hour. But in space, the alien fleet continued its approach toward Earth. Soon, humanity would face the greatest test in its history. The question was not whether Zeus would work. The question was whether it would be ready in time. Sam looked up at the ceiling of the underground facility. Somewhere above, alien ships were preparing to attack his world. But below ground, humans were building something the aliens had never seen before. Weapon made not of metal or energy, but of human consciousness itself. The race was on, and humanity was not going to lose. The message reached every alien ship. But more than words, it carried the emotional weight of 2 billion human minds linked through Zeus. The aliens felt human sincerity, human strength, and human mercy all at once. Commander Sektar stared at the communication screen. These humans had defeated his fleet using technology he did not understand. They had turned his own crew's minds against him. They could destroy what remained of his forces, but they were offering peace. "All ships," Sektar transmitted to his fleet, "withdraw to the outer system. The humans have proven they cannot be conquered." As the alien fleet retreated, Amy felt a change in the Zeus network. The immediate threat was over, but the connections between human minds remained strong. The network had evolved. The Zephyrian trade convoy moved slowly through the outer spiral. Captain Veltar had made this journey hundreds of times. His 12 cargo ships carried precious metals from the mining worlds to the core systems. The route was safe. No pirates operated this far from inhabited systems. Veltar's transparent blue skin glowed softly in the dim light of his bridge. His species lived for over 300 years. He remembered when humans walked among the stars. That was 50 years ago, before the exile. He had voted for their removal from the galaxy. "Captain," his navigator called, "I am detecting energy signatures ahead." Veltar looked at his display screen. 12 objects appeared on the scanner. They were moving toward his convoy at incredible speed. The shapes were unfamiliar, but something about them seemed wrong. "Can you identify the ships?" Veltar asked. His communications officer, a young Zephyrian named HFY, shook her head. "Negative, Captain. The designs are not in our database. They appear to be using unknown technology." The objects grew larger on the screen. As they came closer, Veltar felt his blood turn cold. The ships were sleek and angular. Dark metal hulls absorbed light instead of reflecting it. They moved with perfect coordination, like a pack of hunters surrounding prey. "Those are human ships," Veltar whispered. His crew looked at him in disbelief. "Impossible," HFY said. "Humans were exiled 50 years ago. They are forbidden from leaving their solar system." "I know human ship designs," Veltar said. "I studied them during the war trials. These are definitely human vessels, but they are more advanced than anything we have on record." The lead human ship opened communication channels. A human face appeared on the main screen. The man looked young, maybe 30 years old. His eyes were cold and blue. His voice was calm and friendly, which made him somehow more frightening. Zephyrian. "Convoy, this is Captain Rick Barnes of the United Earthship Vengeance. Please reduce speed and prepare to receive a message." Veltar's hands shook as he activated the reply system. "This is Captain Veltar of the merchant vessel Blue Wind. Humans are forbidden in this sector. You are in violation of the exile decree." Captain Barnes smiled, but the expression never reached his eyes. "The exile decree is no longer in effect. Humanity has officially terminated our agreement with the Galactic Council." "That is impossible," Veltar said. "Only the Council can change the exile terms. You cannot simply decide to ignore them." "Watch us," Barnes replied. "You have exactly 1 hour to broadcast our demands to the Galactic Council. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why your ancestors feared us enough to ban us from the galaxy." A data package appeared on Veltar's communication system. He opened it with trembling fingers. The demands were simple but impossible. Complete reparations for 50 years of exile, formal apologies from every council member, recognition of humanity's right to unlimited expansion. "These demands are absurd," Veltar said. "The council will never agree to them." "We expect them to refuse," Barnes said. "That is why we prepared demonstrations. You have 59 minutes to send our message. I suggest you hurry." Veltar immediately transmitted the human demands to Nexus Prime. The response came back within 20 minutes. The Council rejected all demands and ordered the immediate mobilization of the combined galactic fleet. They commanded Veltar to maintain his position and gather intelligence on human capabilities. "The Council has rejected your demands," Veltar told Captain Barnes. "Excellent," Barnes replied. "We hoped they would. Now we can begin the educational portion of our visit." On Nexus Prime, emergency sessions convened as reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human ships had appeared simultaneously in 12 different systems. All delivered the same ultimatum. All carried the same impossible technology. Admiral ZEUSHFY of the Altarian Empire stood before the emergency council session. Her gas-form body pulsed with agitation. This is clearly a human trick. They cannot have built such advanced ships in only 50 years. The Kralix delegate clicked his mandibles nervously. Our sensors confirm the ships are real. They use technology we do not understand. Dimensional drives, quantum weapons, phase shields. How did they develop such things? Ambassador Nexra of the Zephyrian Collective activated the main display. We are receiving live transmissions from 12 contact points. The humans are demanding responses within the hour. Admiral Ben Hayes appeared on screens throughout the council chamber. The old human had aged in 50 years, but his eyes still burned with determination. Behind him, the bridge of his flagship buzzed with activity. Members of the former Galactic Council, Hayes said, 50 years ago, you exiled humanity for being too aggressive, too unpredictable, too dangerous for your peaceful galaxy. Today, we return to show you how right you were. The Altarian Admiral's form flared with anger. You dare threaten the combined might of 47 civilizations? We have fleets numbering in the tens of thousands. You have a few hundred ships at most. Hayes smiled coldly. Numbers are not everything, Admiral. Would you like a demonstration? Before anyone could respond, new reports began streaming in from the Helix Nebula. A single human ship had approached the massive Kralix military installation there. The battle station Dominance was the largest structure the Kralix had ever built. It housed 50,000 soldiers and enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. Captain Paul Wright of the UES Thunderbolt had requested permission to dock. When the Kralix refused, he had issued a polite warning. When they opened fire, he had demonstrated humanity's new technological superiority. The space battle lasted exactly 4 minutes. Report from Helix Nebula, a communications officer announced. The Kralix battle station Dominance has been destroyed. No survivors detected. The council chamber fell silent. Battle Station Dominance had taken 20 years to build. It was supposed to be invincible. The Kralix had considered it their greatest military achievement. One ship, Admiral Hayes said from the display screen. One human ship destroyed your most powerful installation. Captain Wright did not even raise his shields during the engagement. The Kralix delegate began making distressed clicking sounds. Impossible. Our weapons hit your ship. We recorded direct hits with plasma cannons and quantum torpedoes. Your weapons ceased to exist when they approached our hull, Hayes explained. We use quantum disruption fields now. Matter simply stops being matter when it gets too close to us. More reports came in from other systems. Human ships had appeared at strategic locations throughout the galaxy. Each time aliens resisted, the results were the same. Swift, overwhelming defeat with 0 human casualties. The psychological impact was immediate. Species that had ruled star systems for thousands of years suddenly found themselves helpless, against Earth's children. The humans they had dismissed as primitively violent had returned as something beyond their understanding. Captain Barnes contacted Veltar again. Your council has had sufficient time to reconsider our offers. What is their response? They refuse all demands, Veltar said weakly. Admiral ZEUSHFY has mobilized the combined fleet. They are ordering all ships to converge on Nexus Prime for a final battle. Perfect, Barnes said. We were hoping for a large-scale engagement. It will save us time in the long run. 3 more human ships decloaked around the Zephyrian convoy. Veltar had not detected them approaching. They had been there all along, invisible to his sensors. How many ships do you have? Veltar asked. Enough, Barnes replied. Your people thought 50 years would calm human aggression. They were wrong. 50 years gave us time to perfect it. The human ships began moving away from the convoy. They had not fired a single shot. But their message was clear. Humanity could appear anywhere, any time, with weapons that made alien defenses useless. Admiral Hayes transmitted his final ultimatum directly to the Council. You have 72 hours to accept our terms. After that deadline, we stop being polite. The transmission ended, leaving the Council in chaos. Some members wanted to negotiate. Others demanded war. A few suggested immediate surrender. Ambassador. Nexra studied the tactical reports from all 12 contact points. The pattern was clear. Humans had not simply returned to the galaxy. They had returned as apex predators. What happened to them during the exile? She asked. How did they become so advanced? The Altarian admiral's form dimmed with fear. Maybe exile was not punishment for humans. Maybe it was preparation. On the bridge of the UES Retribution, Admiral Hayes watched as his ships reported successful completion of the first phase. Every demonstration had gone perfectly. The galaxy now knew that humanity had returned, and they were no longer the species that had been exiled 50 years ago. Captain Barnes's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, all primary targets have been contacted. The Council is mobilizing their combined fleet as expected. Excellent, Hayes replied. Signal all ships to withdraw to rally points. Phase 2 begins when they arrive at Nexus Prime. Yes, sir. What should I tell the crews about engagement rules? Hayes looked out at the stars that had once been forbidden to his species. Soon, those same stars would belong to humanity. The galaxy had tried to contain human nature and failed. Now they would learn the price of that failure. Tell them to prepare for total war, Hayes said. The age of alien dominance ends in 72 hours. Admiral Hayes issued final orders to his fleet commanders. Secure all surviving alien vessels. 10 years had passed since the Battle of Nexus Prime. The galaxy looked very different now. Human ships patrolled every major trade route. Human administrators governed from orbital stations above alien worlds. The old Galactic Council building had been torn down and replaced with the Human Colonial Authority headquarters. Governor Dan Cooper stood in his office overlooking the rebuilt capital of Nexus Prime. Through the tall windows, he could see alien workers constructing new buildings according to human designs. Everything was cleaner, more efficient, and more organized than it had ever been under alien rule. His assistant, Jenny Walsh, brought him the daily production reports. Sir, galactic productivity is up another 12% this quarter. That makes a total increase of 340% since we took control. Dan nodded as he reviewed the numbers. Under human management, the galaxy produced more food, more technology, and more resources than ever before. The secret was simple. Humans had eliminated the bureaucratic waste that had plagued alien governments for thousands of years. What about resistance activities? Dan asked. Down to almost nothing, Jenny replied. The last rebel group was eliminated 6 months ago on Kepler 442b. Intelligence reports indicate no organized opposition remains anywhere in the galaxy. The resistance had been brief and futile. 3 species attempted rebellion in the early years, led by a hegemony warlord named Kextar. Captain Emma Wallace had ended their uprising in a single engagement using humanity's newest weapon, ships that could phase between dimensions at will. Dr. Greg Stone contacted Dan through the communication system. His research team continued, advancing human capabilities from their laboratory on Europa. Governor Cooper, I have an update on the latest enhancement program. Go ahead, Doctor, Dan said. The new generation of human administrators can now interface directly with quantum computers. They process information at superhuman speeds and coordinate complex operations through shared consciousness networks. Essentially, we have eliminated human error from galactic governance. Dan smiled. The enhancement programs had been voluntary, but most humans chose to undergo the procedures. Why remain limited by biology when technology could make you better? Any side effects? Dan asked. None detected. Enhanced humans retain their personalities and memories. They simply become more capable versions of themselves. Governor Martin of the Vega sector reports that his enhanced staff can manage 12 worlds as easily as one. The transformation of humanity had been gradual but profound. Each generation became more advanced than the last. Current human children were born with neural implants that connected them to the Galactic Information Network. They learned faster, thought clearer, and solved problems that would have puzzled their grandparents. Former Ambassador Nexra of the Zephyrian Collective requested a meeting with Dan. She now served as cultural liaison for her species, helping other Zephyrians adapt to human rule. Her transparent blue skin had lost much of its luster over the years. "Governor Cooper," she said as she entered his office, "I want to discuss the integration progress of my people." "Please sit," Dan said, gesturing to a chair designed for Zephyrian physiology. "What concerns do you have?" "My people remember the old days," Nexra said carefully. "Before human rule. They ask me if we will ever govern ourselves again." Dan considered his answer. "Ambassador, your people are free to participate in government. Several Zephyrians hold important positions in the colonial authority. What they cannot do is rule independently." "Why not?" Nexra asked. "We are a peaceful species. We never cause problems for anyone." "That is exactly the problem," Dan explained. "Your species, like all the others, proved incapable of effective leadership. The galaxy stagnated under alien rule. Conflicts went unresolved for centuries. Resources were wasted on pointless bureaucracy." He activated a holographic display showing galactic statistics. "Under human rule, wars have ended. Crime has dropped 90%. Life expectancy has increased for every species. Standards of living have improved across all worlds." Nexra studied the numbers. They were accurate. Her people lived better lives now than they had under Zephyrian government. But something important had been lost. "What about freedom?" she asked. "Freedom to do what?" Dan replied. "Freedom to make poor decisions? Freedom to waste resources? Freedom to start wars? Your people have freedom to live prosperous, peaceful lives under competent leadership." Captain Alex Murphy, now Director of Deep Space Operations, joined the meeting via video link. His ship was currently exploring beyond the galactic rim, making contact with neighboring galaxies. "Governor Cooper, I have news from the Andromeda expedition," Alex said. "We have established contact with 17 different species. Most are primitive, but 3 show potential for civilization." "What kind of potential?" Dan asked. "They have basic space travel and organized governments. Nothing like human technology, but they are not completely hopeless. Should we begin integration procedures?" Dan thought about it. Humanity had united their home galaxy under efficient rule. Now they were expanding beyond its borders. The universe was vast, and most of it remained unorganized. "Begin diplomatic contact," Dan decided. "Offer them the benefits of joining human civilization. If they refuse, mark their systems for future consideration." President Cole, now serving her 4th term, addressed the Galactic Assembly from Earth. Representatives from hundreds of species listened as she outlined humanity's vision for the next century. The speech was broadcast to every world in the galaxy. "Citizens of the human colonial galaxy," she began. 10 years ago, we returned to claim our rightful place among the stars. Today, we look beyond this galaxy to the infinite possibilities that await us." She gestured to a star map showing human expansion plans. "Our ships have made contact with 43 galaxies in the local cluster. Most contain species that would benefit from human guidance. We offer them the same opportunity we offered you, prosperity under order." The audience listened in respectful silence. Some species genuinely supported human rule. Others simply accepted it as inevitable. A few still resented their lost independence, but they were careful not to show it. "The universe is large," President Cole continued. "It contains wonders we have not yet imagined and challenges we have not yet faced. But humanity will meet those challenges, as we have met all others, with determination, intelligence, and unity of purpose." After the speech, President Cole met privately with her senior advisors. The group included enhanced humans whose capabilities far exceeded normal human limits. "How is morale among the alien populations?" she asked. General Bob Turner, his mind now connected to military networks across the galaxy, responded instantly. "Stable across all sectors. Birth rates are normal. Economic participation is high. No signs of organized discontent." "Good," Cole said. "What about expansion timeline?" Dr. Stone projected holographic charts showing colonization progress. "We have established bases in 12 neighboring galaxies. Resource extraction is proceeding ahead of schedule. Conservative estimates suggest we can control the entire local cluster within 50 years. Cole walked to the window of her office. Outside, she could see the lights of Earth's cities stretching to the horizon. This world had been humanity's prison during the exile. Now it was the capital of an expanding interstellar empire. "My grandfather lived to see the exile," she said quietly. "He died believing humanity had been humiliated by inferior species. If he could see us now, he would understand that exile was not punishment. It was preparation." Her advisor, Kevin Walsh, now enhanced with quantum processing capabilities, provided historical analysis. The exile forced humanity to unite completely. Previous human governments were limited by national boundaries and competing interests. The threat of extinction eliminated those divisions. "The aliens thought they were solving their human problem," Cole said. "Instead, they created something far more dangerous than they could have imagined." General Turner accessed recent intelligence reports. "Ma'am, we have received surrender offers from the remaining independent systems in the Outer Rim. They request admission to the Colonial Authority." "Grant their requests," Cole said, "but place them under direct human administration for the first decade. They need time to adjust to proper governance." As the meeting ended, Cole remained at the window watching the stars. Somewhere among those lights were alien species that had not yet encountered humanity. They lived their simple lives on distant worlds, unaware that their futures had already been decided. The galaxy had tried to cage humanity's aggressive nature. They had succeeded only in teaching humans to be more efficient predators. The exile had ended 50 years ago, but its consequences would shape the universe for millennia to come. Humanity had returned to the stars not as the species that had been banished, but as something new, something better, something unstoppable. The age of alien independence was over. The age of human supremacy had just begun. President Cole smiled as she watched a human transport ship launch toward Andromeda. Inside that ship were diplomats, soldiers, and administrators ready to bring civilization to another galaxy. They carried with them the lessons learned during humanity's exile, that peace was only PIE. Commander Sektar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching his forces prepare for the final assault on Earth. The massive Korthak warship carried enough firepower to crack a moon in half. Around it, 9,000 other ships from across. The galaxy waited for his orders. "Report," Sektar commanded his tactical officer. "Sir, our advance fighters engaged human forces near Earth's orbit. We lost 37 ships before the humans retreated." Sektar's reptilian features twisted into a frown. 37 ships? How many humans did we destroy?" "None, sir." The human ships moved in perfect coordination. They seemed to predict our attack patterns before we executed them. "Impossible. Human technology is centuries behind ours. They cannot match our tactical computers." "Sir, the humans were not using computers. Our analysis suggests they were operating under some form of collective consciousness. All their ships moved as if controlled by a single mind." Sektar dismissed the report with a wave of his clawed hand. "Primitive species often fight desperately when facing extinction. It changes nothing. Begin the main assault." On Earth, Dr. Angela Torres felt, the alien fleet began its final approach through the Zeus network. 2 billion human minds shared her awareness as thousands of enemy ships accelerated toward their planet. Through Zeus, Admiral Stone coordinated the global defense. Every human military asset was connected to the network. Fighter squadrons, orbital, defense platforms, ground-based missile systems, and energy cannons all operated with perfect timing. They are coming. Admiral Stone's thoughts reached every mind in the network. Remember, we do not need to destroy all their ships. We only need to break their will to fight. President Santos, also connected to Zeus, felt the determination of her people. Fear was present in the network, but it was overwhelmed by resolve. Humanity would not surrender. Lieutenant Amy Garcia led her fighter squadron toward the approaching alien dreadnoughts. Through Zeus, she could see the battle from every angle simultaneously. Ground controllers tracked incoming missiles. Orbital stations calculated firing solutions. Even civilian scientists contributed by analyzing alien ship designs for weaknesses. The first wave of alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere. They were massive vessels, each one the size of a city. Their weapons began charging, preparing to devastate. Human population centers. Zeus responded instantly. Every ground-based defense system fired at once, but not randomly. The network had calculated the exact moment when alien shields would be weakest. Laser cannons, railguns, and missile batteries all targeted the same ship at the same instant. The alien dreadnought's shields collapsed under the coordinated assault. Human weapons tore through its hull like paper. The massive ship broke apart and fell, burning into the ocean. Through the Zeus network, Amy felt surprise and alarm from the alien fleet. They had expected their shields to protect them from primitive human weapons. Instead, they had lost a capital ship in the first exchange. More alien ships entered the atmosphere, spreading out to avoid concentrated fire. But Zeus adapted faster than they could maneuver. The network predicted their movements and repositioned. Human defenses accordingly, Amy's fighter squadron engaged alien escorts protecting the larger ships. Through Zeus, every pilot shared the reflexes and experience of every other pilot. They moved through alien formations like dancers, too fast and unpredictable for enemy targeting systems to track. "Garcia, take your squadron high," came the tactical instruction through Zeus. Amy found herself climbing toward space without consciously deciding to do so. The network had calculated that her ships were needed elsewhere. As she climbed, Amy felt something extraordinary happening on Earth's surface. The Zeus network was expanding beyond military applications. Civilian power grids were being rerouted to create massive energy surges. Industrial facilities were being converted into weapon production centers in real time. Even the planet's magnetic field was being manipulated to interfere with alien navigation systems. "This is incredible," Amy thought to the network. "We are using the entire planet as a weapon." The response came from Dr. Torres. "Zeus has evolved beyond our original design. The network is finding ways to use resources we never considered. Every human facility, every power source, every piece of technology is now part of our defense system." On his flagship, Commander Sektar watched in growing alarm as his forces suffered unexpected losses. Human resistance was far more effective than his intelligence reports had predicted. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are detecting massive energy buildups across the human planet. They appear to be drawing power from their planetary core." "Impossible. No species has ever developed that technology." "Sir, our computer models cannot predict human behavior patterns. They are acting in ways that violate all known tactical principles." Sektar activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, increase attack intensity. Focus fire on their population centers. Break their will to resist." But as the alien fleet concentrated its fire on Earth's cities, Zeus was ready. The network had moved millions of civilians to underground shelters connected to the quantum field generators. Not only were they protected, but their minds joined the collective, making Zeus even more powerful. Captain Rachel Murphy, connected to Zeus through Earth's cyber warfare division, felt the network identify a critical vulnerability in the alien fleet. Their ships used centralized communication systems that could be disrupted if approached correctly. "I can hack their network," Rachel's thoughts reached Admiral Stone. "But I need to get close to their flagship." "Do it," came the collective decision. Through Zeus, human forces coordinated the most audacious attack in military history. Fighter squadrons created diversions while stealth ships approached the alien flagship. Ground-based weapons provided covering fire with surgical precision. Even civilian hackers contributed by jamming alien sensors at exactly the right moments. Rachel's cyber warfare ship reached the alien flagship undetected. Using Zeus-enhanced processing power, she penetrated their security systems in minutes. But instead of simply disrupting their communications, she did something unprecedented. She uploaded human consciousness into their network. The alien command system, designed for rigid hierarchical thinking, was overwhelmed by chaotic human creativity. Alien ships began receiving contradictory orders. Navigation systems displayed impossible coordinates. Weapon systems fired at their own allies. Commander Sektar watched his fleet dissolve into chaos. "What are they doing to us?" "Sir, the humans have somehow infected our computer systems with their consciousness patterns. Our ships cannot distinguish between real orders and false ones." Through Zeus, Amy felt the tide of battle turning. Alien ships were colliding with each other as their pilots received conflicting navigation data. Others were firing randomly as their weapon systems malfunctioned. But the network was not finished. Dr. Torres felt Zeus reach a new level of integration. The quantum fields connecting human minds began to extend beyond Earth's atmosphere, touching the alien fleet directly. Suddenly, alien crew members began experiencing human thoughts and emotions. Korthak warriors felt human compassion. Zephyrian technicians experienced human curiosity. Vex crystals absorbed human creativity. The effect was devastating to alien morale. Species that had never questioned their superiority suddenly understood human perspectives. They felt the love humans had for their planet, the determination to protect their families, the willingness to sacrifice everything for freedom. Many alien ships simply stopped fighting. Their crews, overwhelmed by human emotions they had never experienced, could not bring themselves to continue the attack. Commander Sektar, partially affected by the consciousness bleed from Zeus, felt something impossible. For the first time in his life, he experienced doubt about his mission. The humans were not the savage primitives his species had believed them to be. They were people fighting for their home. "Sir," his tactical officer said, "over half our fleet has stopped responding to orders. The humans have turned our own crews against us." Sektar looked at the tactical display. His mighty fleet was scattered and broken. Ships drifted powerless through space. Others had begun retreating toward the edge of the solar system. Through Zeus, Admiral Stone felt victory within reach. "Broadcast this message to the alien fleet," she commanded. Every human communication system activated simultaneously. The message went out in dozens of alien languages. "This is Admiral Karen Stone of Earth Defense Command. Your attack has failed. Your fleet is broken. But we do not seek your destruction. We seek only our freedom. Withdraw from our solar system and there will be no further conflict between us."